Hello and welcome to episode 9 of our series of Blades in the Dark. As always, there'll be a link on screen to a playlist of previous episodes if there's any you want to catch up on. For the finale, we're going to have the whole crew with us today, and we're going to find out what they've all been up to since we last saw them.
Hello. Carrie-Anne has been, she's been in the lab and she has done some inventing. Not, as you might expect, a chemical to make Mr. Squishy grow giant and become aggressive, because she didn't think of it in time. But instead she has invented a hopefully useful chemical that may be deployed at some point. We'll have to see about that. And she's also been doing a lot of healing, some of it to herself, and others of it to not herself. I think that was it, right? Was that it?
I honestly can't remember.
No,
Let's
it
say yes.
it happened 10 minutes ago, but
I
neither
know.
of us can remember. Let's say that was it.
To be fair, it was 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
And,
well,
and
that's fine.
that's it's fine. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mittens, what about you?
Well, I have been de-stressing by visiting the community centre and helping out with my fellow refugees. I've been healing my glassy feet and batten face, which has come a long way. I've actually got rid of all the glass in my feet now, which is lovely. And so for the rest of the time, I just spent practicing sneaking around places and fiddling with things like locks and other stuff. And that's what I've been doing.
Claudia has been, well, first of all, she was, Carrie-Anne helped her heal her still slightly broken wrist. It's all good now. She also has reduced some of her stress, so she will have done some terribly hedonistic things, I'm sure. She also has been training, and after the incident with Dr. Madeline Hunter, she has, I assume with like Carrie-Anne and Hayward's help, been getting books on the occult and studying more, and she is now better at attunement. I think that's everything. I think.
Cool. What about Hayward?
So, Hayward has spent a lot of the time in his library, in his laboratory, doing quite a bit of study, improving his knowledge. He's also actually spent a bit of time trying to learn how to sneak around a bit, because he's never been particularly sneaky. Many failures, a few successes. And isn't doing too badly right now. He also decided very much that during his downtime activities, he wanted to finish the laboratory, so he was in contact with his acquaintances in Arcross and got some lovely supplies sent over to help build a laboratory, and also spent quite a lot of time researching the best technology to incorporate the entertaining area that we've been trying to work towards. So he's been quite busy, and then sitting down with a nice glass of whiskey, because he's got an affinity for whiskey.
We're not going back there. Mathilda, please move on.
So Mathilda came back to the warehouse, had a little cuddle with Claudia about her very stressful time, and then got her ribs healed up a little bit, and then decided to head down to the community centre and stress everyone out by starting fights and getting a bit more reckless. Started wrecking things up. Trained herself up. Just did a Mathilda. Wow, mood. Oh.
Wonderful. So, I think that is everyone caught up on everything that's going on. So, everyone finally has regathered after various activities and adventures. So yes, everyone has been pairing up and having little adventures, and now we have everyone back together to conclude the series of Blades in the Dark adventures. So having retrieved all of the items necessary to activate the magic, reverse thing that happened and stop having invisible Eli walking around murdering people, they have acquired the assets and they have the box. I'm going to make an assumption that you're probably going to so essentially, so inside the box there's kind of 3 slots where they kind of slot in, right? I'm going to make the assumption that probably gathered together you're gonna do that and see what happens.
Yep.
Yep.
Whereabouts in your base are you planning on doing this?
On the slide, I assume.
Yeah, the slide.
I mean, that
At
sounds
the top
very
or at the bottom of the
uncomfortable for
slide?
Claudia.
No, I won't say it. Okay.
Okay, so whereabouts on the slide?
If we do it at the top of the have the thing at the top of the slide, and then if we put the things in and it goes bad, we can just shove it down the slide.
That's my thinking exactly.
Makes perfect sense. Where is everyone in terms of this? Who is braving, putting them in, and who is I don't know, who's inevitably hiding halfway down the ladder in case.
Haywood is right at the front through intellectual curiosity with a glass of whiskey in hand.
Mathilda is carelessly close, helping out.
Carrie-Anne doesn't want to put the pieces in because she thinks if she does, she'll have to see Eli, and that this is bad. So she's probably lurking at the side somewhere.
Mittens is probably also lurking at the side somewhere.
Claudia's just happy to be here.
Cool. You also have everyone's favourite ghost friend. Well, probably not actually, but a ghost friend floating around, waiting for someone to do the thing, to put the items in the box.
Guess myself and Hayward are like bloop bloop bloop.
Yeah, I'm just shoving him in.
Cool. Kirby, I don't get it. Please explain the facepalm.
Oh, well, just as his lackadaisical attitude to shapes and holes.
Mittens has seen a lot for a 17-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just in the last week.
For all of Haywood's intellectual ability, it took him a while to learn how to put the right shape in the right hole.
Cool. So when you put the last one in, the box itself starts to kind of almost shimmer with a slight coloured aura. It kind of gives a slightly strange sensation to you, and you can kind of see a little bit of almost your own, almost like it's kind of sort of reaching out into you and trying to pull something out of you. you kind of see some almost sort of visual sense of colour surrounding you, almost being taken by this box. Similarly, your ghost friend it seems like they're having a worse time of it than you, as a result. It then quite quickly stops, and feeling probably a little bit weird, but unharmed in any way. You start to see almost like a map being projected, kind of up from the box. It is not a map of anywhere of Dwimble as it is now. It's not something that you're kind of 100% familiar with. But the map itself almost feels like it's glitching slightly and kind of flickers almost between a map of what looks like a very old town, and sort of almost every now and then sort of flickering to show more familiar landmarks and streets and such that you would recognise from Dwimble as it is now. At a certain point, you can see that there are kind of you can see throughout there are little kind of coloured lights, of sort of varying intensities. You can see most of them are kind of quite low level lights of various different colours, and over on in your base you can see 5 kind of small lights of different colours and one that's quite a bit stronger. You can then see at a certain point there is a really high concentration of these lights, as it kind of is showing that original map, and sort of temporarily glitching to Dwimble. Carrie-Anne, as the kind of person who grew up in Dwimble, you would be the quickest to recognise that where that relates to is actually a bank. So if you were to head up to I think it's Charter Hall. If you were to head up to Charter Hall, in the middle of this, you can see that beneath, or kind of at basement level, is where that concentration of light is.
The concentration of light, is that the kind of the brighter light, like there's one brighter light in where our base is?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit hard to tell, so but you suspect that it's basically you have one in your base and it's basically just so many of them packed into like a small space. Okay. That it almost kind of blends into one like very bright light. Okay. You also see a even less healthy than normal ghost of Madeline Hunter, sort of a bit thrown by events, as it kind of seems to have drained probably a lot more out of her than it has from any of you, and she's kind of looking around a little bit bewildered, and says, I think whatever magic was used to recall, the item is no longer strong enough. I think it needs some better sources, more powerful sources to be able to function.
Any suggestions?
Well, I think fortunately it has taken care of the best place to find that.
This shiny group thing here.
Yes.
Huh. I wonder what it all means. Only there was some smarter people here to explain it.
What happens if I like start putting my fingers through the projection? It's gonna start playing with it.
It feels quite cold on your hand. It's a bit weird, but it doesn't really do anything. Like the projection kind of stays like kind of a circle, like a sphere around where your hand is. Your hand feels kind of weird when it goes in.
Put my head in.
At which point your head starts to feel a bit weird.
I'm just staying there for a bit, just like
Just vibing.
just whoop whoop whoop.
So it sounds like there's a glowing thing in a bank somewhere, and we need that glowing thing to not be in a bank somewhere.
So let's go rob a bank.
Yes, we've established that the big glowy thing is a bank. It's coming from the basement of a bank. Madeline said that it needs more power, and she seems somewhat depleted. So, Madeline, is this thing working, like sapping the ghostly life out of you? Is that what's happening here?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
If
we go to this bank, there are going to be a lot of ghosts. Yes.
Yes, clearly when they built the vault, they decided to trap ghostly energies within, or rather to stop ghostly energies entering. Sorry, so people can't just use ghosts to break in.
Okay.
But also,
and then
traps.
And then all of these ghosts will make this thing work, and then Eli will come back.
I
Why don't we want
I don't think Eli will come back.
Okay, that's fine then. I'm in.
I think Eli is already dead. I think doing so will remove the spirit that is possessing his body, and somewhat taking his vengeance out on the city now, will be returned to the box. I suspect Eli will then just become a corpse.
Are you sure that that's the spirit possessing him and it's not just Eli?
Yeah, maybe he was just a jerk.
Yeah.
But he couldn't turn himself invisible.
Well,
You never know. Maybe he
Both
could.
can be
Well, if
synonymous.
he could turn himself invisible, then he probably wouldn't have got Eli involved to steal things. He could just turn himself invisible and done it himself, right?
But he's completely useless, so...
True. Look, I mean...
Does he have glowing red eyes? Did I make that up?
Oh, as in, yes, from what you said when you saw him recently, he did. He didn't when he was alive. Look,
So he's easier to find at night.
Yes, and always looks scary in photographs.
All I'd say is, if he did come back and you disposed of him in some way, I'm not sure anyone's going to care that much at this point. So I'll leave it up to you what you decide to do.
Can think of ways that we might be able to dispose of him.
Mr. Squishy's hungry.
Mr. Squishy's always
It would
hungry.
take Mr. Squishy quite a while, I think.
Mr. Squishy's got friends.
Isn't that?
Well, that's a quote.
So, what would you like to do?
I'm not adding my own quote.
So, I mean, we need to get into a bank. Makes sense to do it at night when there aren't people there. There are lots of ghosts there.
I just want Madeline to stop hurting.
Oh,
Whatever
that's very
helps.
sweet.
The vibe box has really got to Matilda. She's on the come down.
I could potentially approach with a good cover identity as a bank manager.
I mean,
You're a noble. Do you need to? Oh,
yeah,
I'm
we
a
could just
noble.
get you to, make a deposit in your.
For that, a very valued customer that needs full access to the
Go to
bank.
the ghost vault.
Maybe this time we'll be able to do that whole impossible mission hang from the ceiling thing. Just saying.
Or
We can hang you from the ceiling anytime, Mittens. Just ask.
It's not the same if
I
there's not a
regret
crime
saying
involved.
those words already.
we all know the bank's most valued customer is whiskey.
The bank's most valued customer is whiskey. I'm really confused.
We're bad at crime, aren't we?
Please explain how a horse costume is the bank's most valuable customer.
A very expensive horse that has made a lot of money.
I mean, same, but you don't pronounce the S.
Wow.
Let's go
I'll
rob a
leave,
bank.
I'll leave whiskey at home for this one.
I guess
we
you just
yeah.
found out that the horse is called whiskey. I was very confused about how whiskey is a customer.
Mittens 2 was not
Yeah.
fully on board with that at the time.
I thought that you just drink so much in character that was Hayward's nickname at the bank.
Whiskey wasn't the horse's name until the last heist.
I was watching it. I don't know what happened.
Just because Hayward said he was in a study enjoying a fine whiskey.
Oh, fucking hell.
And
Whiskey
also the
is-
drink.
Whiskey is his term for everything that he enjoys.
Okay, nope. Let's move on.
So we're at the bank.
I'm
right?
not unpacking that. That's
Flash
not
forward.
happening.
Can we flash back and get Hayward the therapy he so desperately needs?
Can we flash back and get me the therapy I desperately need? I mean, it's really great to have all your lot back. I'm really enjoying it.
my cheeks hurt from smiling, but my heart hurts from existing right now.
Oh wow.
I'm adding that one.
Gaijin, I'm from everything.
Wow. Okay.
So we're at a bank.
So you're in a
So
bank.
what do we know about this bank? Like, it's the subterranean level that we're trying to break into.
Yes. So let's assume between you it's easy enough at least to kind of wander in and because it functions as a bank, so obviously you can wander in and do a little bit of casing.
And pens, right?
Yeah. So we'll go in, get a few pens. Is the level that we're trying to get to available to normal customers, or is it just the ground floor that we can get to?
Yeah. So as you you go in, what you can kind of see. So there's like a kind of foyer area, and there's kind of three stations where you've obviously got bank tellers behind kind of screens, and then so that's kind of the ground level. There's kind of more to the building behind, but that's obviously kind of staff only, and then what you're looking for is below.
So, is the bank an old building?
Reasonably old.
I'm just thinking that maybe there might be kind of historic, blueprints and information about the building of a building if it's quite an old one that we might be able to get hold of and see if there are any like alternative entrances or that kind of thing.
How would you go about doing
that? Maybe somebody knows somebody who studied architecture at a place of higher learning.
Well, I do happen to know someone who studied architecture, but they're not a friend.
Do they like whiskey?
Potentially.
Which kind?
Does it matter?
But
Single malt, thoroughbred.
I do know a master architect. Surely we would have a way to persuade him.
Sure. What's your relationship with the master architect? That's August, right?
Yes. An old university rival on different courses. So I was there studying science and chemistry and all of that, and he was studying architecture. And for some reason, during Freshers Week, we came to a head and never quite came back from it.
So, okay, so he's someone you know, but not necessarily someone who's inclined to give information.
No, not without persuasion.
Something in return.
Yeah.
What do they look like, Haywood?
Your typical jock.
Oh, fuck. I hate those guys.
Don't we all?
This was a drinking contest gone wrong, wasn't it?
Yeah. mixed signals.
Mixed singles. That was so dumb. I'm never saying that again.
I'm also wondering with what the mixed signals meant, whether it was like romantic, that you thought they were into you or something.
Well, that is a story for another day.
Flashback, we asked about this yesterday.
You will take too stress for having to hear about it.
Haywood stays stoically silent. And refuses to talk about it.
Okay. So what? So I guess the question is, what would you have to offer to get August to actually give you any information?
I am willing to, knowing he is fond of his drink, willing to offer him a few bottles of the finest Arcros wine that is being imported under the table.
Okay. Based on all of this, trying to get to Jock Architect character. Literally no clue how to fulfill that brief.
I'm low-key scared he might be hot.
So, I'm assuming Haywood, you arrange a meeting with him.
Yep.
Presumably as a master architect, he kind of has his own sort of quite fancy architectural firm that he's there kind of in a big office.
Do you want me to come along just to look at them?
I'm happy for any assistance.
Yeah. I'm gonna go just to have a look. You know, like when you go somewhere and like you have to go and see what the bathroom looks like. Like that, but with people. It makes sense.
It does, 100%. No, I agree. I
know what you mean.
Cool. So yeah, as you as you go in, his assistant shows you to his office. Presumably, your kind of prearranged time. He kind of looks up. Is it just the two of you going in, or is anyone else going with?
I would decredit everyone by coming along. I would stay back.
I just said the idea and then left other people to do the work.
Oh, I thought you were just going to say you said the idea then left.
Well, yeah, also that. I just said that and then walked out back to the lab. Mr. Squishy's tea time.
Oh. It's like a little tiny blood bag, like a Capri Sun. So cute.
Cool. So yes, as you enter, you see him kind of stand up and walk around. He kind of holds out a hand and says, "Oh, Haywood, obviously it's always good to see you again."
It's been a while.
Indeed it has. he gives you a handshake, but like it's very firm. Luna, please explain what was funny about that.
You're happy to see me, are you, August?
Well, you know, so yeah, as much as we haven't always got on, you know, it's more interesting than not seeing anyone. You know, I was you know just wrapping up. But you know, you can got half an hour before yeah, you got to go hit the gym. So you know, always happy to chat.
Understandable.
You know, as you know, as much as a bit of a yeah, a bit of a nerd that you are, you know, you've obviously got connections. So I feel like you wouldn't be turning up here if you didn't have something to offer. So
Not at all. So, no, you're a fan of your drink.
of course, yeah, I can actually hold her, unlike some people.
Yep. I know I've never been the best when it comes to handling my drink. You're a whiskey fan, aren't you?
I'm a fan of the drink, yeah. I know what sort of things that you got up to, but I like the drink.
Yes, and I do happen to have a very, very fine bottle of whiskey with me today.
Okay, yeah. Let me have a look.
So I pull out a fine bottle of whiskey from my inner jacket pocket. The finest Arcos whiskey. We've been importing wine, as you know. My family have connections. We've been importing wine for a while, and I've persuaded them to import the occasional bit of whiskey. And I thought,
you know, I was always a fan of the Alcross.
you would like this very fine vintage. Been brewed in a very nice oak barrel, matured for the past 10 years. It's a very mature whiskey.
10 years isn't that mature for a whiskey.
Yeah, 25.
You also don't brew in casks you age,
Yeah.
and you distill.
You're all fucking nerds.
Okay. 50-year whiskey.
This is what Claudia came for, so that he could like.
Beautiful
Yes,
stuff.
I'm assuming you're saying all of that, and he's actually looking at the label, and it's like, you know, really nice, like 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Proper decent Arcos whiskey.
And Claudia's just looking somewhat embarrassed that she's stood next to someone who said that it's brewed for 10 years.
Matured for 10 years. Aged for 10 years.
Well, yes.
Look at it.
We always knew that this wasn't the type of whiskey you're a connoisseur of, but anyway.
Well, I may have had half a bottle before I came over. My mind's a bit fuzzy right now.
I mean, it's like that when you're sober. But anyway. I mean, I know you well enough, Haywood, that you're not turning up to give this to me for, you know, as a nice gift. What are you looking for in return?
Information.
About?
Right.
About what?
Bank. I know you've worked on a majority of these buildings around here. You have access to a lot of blueprints.
Right, you don't need me to be... oh, I thought you were turning up asking me to explain banking systems.
Oh, no, I don't mind about the banking systems. I'm interested in the architecture and the buildings. I've decided that it's potentially time to change my field, and I was very fond of what you did back in the day, and still do now.
You're referring to my architecture, right?
This is very romantic.
Of course I have. Has some good solid structures.
I'm mostly disappointed that you've brought a companion with you who seems significantly more charming and you haven't introduced us.
Yes, this is Claudia.
It's very nice to meet you,
Yeah.
Claudia. I'm August.
I've already forgotten his name. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Claudia, this is August.
August. Okay. Hello.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
How are you unfortunate enough to make friends with Hayward?
What a question. I've never really thought about it. We all have trials in life.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We obviously had our own connection back in the day, but some things don't work out. But anyway, the bank. I mean, so I don't work on it personally. It's a bit before my time, and as I'm sure you know, they don't exactly advertise the blueprints of banks so anyone can see them. It's obviously something that they want to keep very close to their chest. Make sure they don't give away to anyone who might be looking to, say, break into a bank and rob it. So I'm sure you understand that we don't exactly have a set of blueprints on file.
Well, I must ask, how may I persuade you to procure these blueprints for us?
Okay, there's probably two key points. Number one, the bank, it will be the only place that keeps the blueprints, probably locked away in the vault. So if you're trying to access the vault, then you end up getting the blueprints to be able to break into the vault. You can see the problem there, right? However, I have worked on the bank. I at least have some understanding of where things are in the building. So I could do a quick rough sketch for you, to at least give you an idea of the lay of the land.
Would be very much appreciated.
Cool. So he kind of heads over to his back towards his desk. He's kind of got a bunch of there's quite a lot of like just stuff around on his desk, and he kind of like moves a bunch of stuff over, kind of looking at both of you very pointedly, kind of picks up some weights and put them over to the side, more to show off that he can, and then kind of
Can I please straighten them up? Like, if they're a bit crooked, can I attempt to straighten them?
character or
No, the weights. What?
oh, I thought you were wanting to straighten August up in terms of okay, it was a bad joke, let's move on. Straighten the weights.
I mean, I've got nothing for this, but I want to try it.
Yeah, sure. I don't even know what you'd roll. Make a roll. What makes sense in your character sheet?
I can't do anything. You can't sway them, can you?
I mean, you can try talking to a weight to make it move, but it's not going to do anything. I'd be almost tempted to say like wreck or skirmish would be the most kind of
Yeah, I've got a dot in skirmish. I'm gonna. It's just one dice, right?
Yep.
2.
Okay, you basically can't move them.
Oh, okay. Well, I can make that work to my advantage. I look impressed.
Sorry, in terms of...
At him, like,
Yeah, he slightly smugly sees you doing that and kind of goes over and quite comfortably, strains them up for you.
And Haywood, at this point, make a comment about his very impressive strength and size to compliment him.
He as you do that, he kind of gives you a look and says, "Well, you didn't seem to be such a fan of my size back in the day. But there we go."
No, I may have missed the opportunity back then.
Yeah. It's fine. He you kind of see him unroll basically just like a kind of it's basically like a roll of paper. You can see there's a bunch of like random sketches on it that are kind of and he just kind of like tears those off. They're just kind of like scrap doodles ideas that didn't go anywhere. And then kind of the remaining sheet, he kind of sketched out a quick overview of like roughly where things are. So you can kind of see the like the key bits. You've got the building. It's basically kind of roughly squarish, and kind of the first half is what you've seen, and then behind that is sort of dedicated staff areas, and it's kind of back there that there's then a route down to the stairs that would take you down to the vault. Well, I take you down to the entrance to the vault, and then you'd have to find a way to open the vault to get in.
Cool. I'm assuming I can take that information and the
Yep.
map back to the rest of the crew who didn't come along with us,
Yeah.
and not fill them in on any of what happened.
He gives you a look, Claudia, and says, "So you and Haywood? I thought he was into that.
oh, God, no.
Ah, so you're single?
I am. Well, yeah, yes.
I mean, if you ever want to go for a drink,
Oh,
he kind
thank you.
of slides a number across. Don't have to call,
Thank
but be much more of a pleasure than this one, I'm sure. You seem very charming."
Thank you. Haywood, it's very warm in here. Can we go?
Awesome.
Sadly, I've got to go off and hit the gym, So he kind of shows you out. Cool. So, in terms of what you can see, so the bank is obviously very kind of with that additional architectural insight. You can see the bank is very much like obviously standalone, and security is quite significant. So you've got the lobby that you can go into. It's then very much kind of divided behind screens. You've then got where the tellers are, and then behind that you've got basically a corridor. There's like a kind of manager's office, a security room, and a staff room, and then it's just kind of like in the far left corner there's some stairs down. Obviously the general brickwork is somewhat more kind of reinforced than a normal building to try and stop people being able to like smash through a wall, and then you would head down the stairs, There's some kind of minor vaults to the as you kind of go across to the left, and then the main vault that you're looking to go into kind of on the right, and that's the significant one. There's some scribbled notes around it about the vault door is a little bit old. There may be options to break through it depending on what you have. Ordinarily, the passcode for it is known by the two, the manager and assistant manager on duty at a given time. Between them, know half of the code. That's kind of the notes that you scribble down in terms of the security on the sheet with the diagram.
So did you guys manage to get hold of the blueprints?
We got some rough drafts.
I see.
Yeah, Claudia's just like looking at Mathilda like you know that look like.
I also hand over the drafts at this point so everyone can see.
So do we have a plan for breaking in yet?
Well, we need the assistant manager something code. I'm sorry, I'm really distracted.
I mean,
Hayward has that effect.
Mittens, don't be silly.
Potentially to get at least one of the managers alone, we could put in a complaint.
What, we want to see the manager kind of thing?
Yeah, very much so.
I wonder which one of us should do that.
I'm not having two characters do this. I mean, what other torture is there to get answers than screaming Karen?
Unless we divide and conquer and one goes for one... Someone goes for one manager. And someone else goes for another manager.
How many bank employees am I acquainted with? What percentage?
Good question. I mean, in terms of like most of them, would be very low because again, they wouldn't exactly be able to afford you.
This is true.
It'd still be pretty low on the top tier employees. So even at manager level, it'd still be pretty low.
So, potential plan here. We've got two managers. They're likely to be off shift at the same time, i.e. when the bank is shut. Team A, Team B, each go to a manager's house, tail them home after work, go to a manager's house, get the codes off them somehow, And
They
then
might have families. That's an easy way.
Sure. I mean, they'll probably walk past a dark alleyway or something on the way home as well. But
Oh yeah, I suppose.
and then we leave.
Forgot who I was playing for a second. Sorry.
I thought that was concerned. Like, don't they have families?
No.
What?
It was not. Yeah.
Yeah,
Then we
I'm
can
down
break
to
into
two.
the bank when people aren't really there, where it's just like the night guards, and we can sneak past them or knock them out or do whatever, or charm them.
And if
That's
they're
the-
directors, they'd have keys, so we could get the codes and the keys. So it's not even breaking in; it's just opening the front door.
Yeah. Does that sound like a plan?
Let's go track and trace.
Tutu.
I don't know what it is about that particular
no.
name, Matilda. I just feel like it's going to go dreadfully. Like, we won't all be on the same page. Some of us will find things out later than others. Some of us won't be contacted at all. I'm done, it's okay.
Okay, cool. It was good. Yes, cool. So, ideas, plan is forming. Wonderful. I think let's not roleplay breaking into two different managers' houses and blackmailing them until they give you the codes and keys. Instead,
I didn't say blackmail.
okay, fair enough. You might choose other options. However, let's make this the engagement role, and we'll use that to cover off how well you managed to kind of get access to that. Okay, so as ever, 1d6 for sheer luck. Is the plan particularly bold or daring?
We're breaking into a bank.
Yep.
Yeah.
People's houses, and that whole thing with the architect.
Yep. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability to the target or hit them where they're weakest?
Yeah.
And so friends or contacts provide aid. I think would include that for
Yeah.
So three dice. Last engagement roll. Trying to get a nice like clacky clack sound for the stream, but I don't think I'm getting it. Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
No, yeah.
Okay. Oh well, we got a 3, a 5, and a 6.
Finally,
Is that
we've
good?
actually got a decent.
Yes, that is good. Well, you take the highest, so 6. Yeah, I'm assuming that actually this plan is quite successful. Between what groups would you split into?
I mean, I feel like we're already in 2 groups.
I was in Claudia and Haywood, and then Carrie Ann, Mittens, and Matilda.
That works for everyone, yeah.
I'm quite used to taking on men by myself, but if I have to take Hayward along with me,
Yeah, Hayward's quite happy to like knock on the door and just go.
aren't we following them home? I thought we weren't doing the house.
Hayward's just happy to go along with what's going on. He's an enabler.
Okay, cool. So yes, Corey and Hayward tail one of the managers home they see locking up, and Carrie Ann Mittens and Mathilda the other one. Hayward somehow manages to stay out of trouble in all of this, and through whatever means of persuasion the two groups decide to use, and we'll leave that to people's imagination. They are actually able to get so today's passcode and the halves of the passcode, and each of the manager's key to the front door. At which point, presumably, you regroup and inform each other of your great success.
It went well for a change.
And, make it to the bank and unlock the door and sneak in.
Did the two keys to the bank fit together really kind of satisfyingly, and it's like a little
Like a decoder ring.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's say yes. That's much cooler than it just being two locks.
Did we learn how to turn off any alarm system within the bank?
So from what you've picked up, they didn't give any information about an alarm system, but you are aware there are security around, and they are responsible for any alarms. As you approach, let's assume so there are guards kind of sort of walking around, particularly in the in the kind of lobby. You can see there's a couple that sort of patrolling, as well as making it back to kind of where the bank tellers kind of are based, and occasionally kind of making their way through, just kind of patrol from behind there a little bit occasionally. Let's assume as part of the engagement role, or as the kind of last action on the engagement role, you kind of time unlocking the doors and just slipping in, and going behind some plants and benches, so you are out of sight of the guards. And there's two security guards kind of sort of patrolling around, kind of sometimes behind the screens, occasionally kind of unlocking the door to get through, and kind of walking around the main lobby area. As it stands, they're kind of not being brought to you on their patrol route.
I signed the others in our universal gang sign of, there are two of them and there are five of us.
Can I try and survey their patrol route and see if I can get an idea when an opportune time to boink is?
Sorry, went to what?
The answer is any time.
So there's kind of not really a specific route they're following. They're more sort of wandering around, occasionally kind of stopping and just kind of chatting. They're kind of on, like, I say they're on different routes, but they're not they're not really on routes. It's more kind of aimlessly wandering around the area, and occasionally kind of stopping and chatting. They kind of have, you can kind of tell there's like certain points they have to check, but you know, kind of occasionally, but beyond that they're kind of, it's pretty free in terms of that. However, if you know, there would be an opportunity of the two kind of stood together, potentially look in a different direction if you wanted to maybe
Rub drugs in their eyes. Yeah. Weird.
What? Well, the other option is we bonk one of them.
And then we knock out the other.
Well, that was what I was going to suggest, but usually...
But I have a very nice fine cover identity, so I could be relieving one of the guards.
Oh, wait. No, it's okay. Never mind.
As in taking their shift and...
Yes. Yes, I understand.
Could we wait until they're together and then just throw something so they look the other way at the same time? And then we can bonk them together.
Is there any, like, often in banks there's some kind of, like, where there are alarms, there are like the actual speakers that the alarm noise comes out of. Like, are there any of those kind of around the perimeter of the room?
Make a roll.
Okay, I'm going to study. Am I? Yes, I'm going to study. It's a 6.
So yes, you can see some kind of dotted throughout.
Okay. Is there one that is like... Is there one that is like not super visible to them from where they are, but would be like easy for me to get to?
Yeah, so there'd be one kind of in like the near corner. So if you wanted to or kind of the two corners. So if you wanted to access one of those, is kind of relatively out the way.
Okay. What I'm thinking is, and I make the pre-agreed sign to communicate this to the others, is that I could tinker with the box so it makes like a noise that draws them over. And then Matilda goes up behind them and yeah.
You tinker.
Did
Yeah.
you say fuck?
Yes, that's exactly what.
I
Flashback to when they're having this conversation outside. And
I can't literally.
Yes.
Sorry, it was this for Tinker
Yeah.
had me like.
This is Mittens flashing back to having this conversation outside round the corner.
Cool. So,
Oh, Anne's gang. Oh god.
Carrie Ann, there are two
Yes.
roles that I'd like you to make.
Okay.
And I'm not telling you what they necessarily should be, but one of them should definitely be for how, like, sneakily you can do this without being spotted.
Yep.
So something in that sort of area, and then something for tinkery for how well you tinker with the thing.
I'll need to think about what that one is. But for the first one, I'm going to do Prowl. The highest is a 5.
Okay. I think you just about managed to stay out of sight as you kind of, duck your way over and hide behind things. I think as you're kind of going, you do kind of briefly knock a little bit of a plant that is, you kind of briefly hear them kind of have a look and have a conversation about it, and then you kind of have another bit of a look over and not a very thorough look around. You kind of seem to return back to normal, at which point you kind of sneak over. You're basically trying to get something, some sound into it, right?
Want to do something to it, so I don't know, maybe there's a loose connection and it starts to make a kind of a, not like, it's not setting the alarm off, but like the kind of like a, the shrieky noises that technology sometimes makes when it's going bad.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, just make a roll for that side of it then.
Okay. It's going to be Tinker, obviously. The highest was a 6.
Perfect. Yeah, so as you kind of go round, you kind of duck behind a bench and having a look at how it all works. You can see that actually the central system is below ground. So whilst it's up in the corner, the wire is actually running down. So it's pretty straightforward for you to just kind of, it's like behind a panel, not panel, like, like a kind of wire covering. So it's not obvious, but you obviously are familiar with such things. And it's pretty straightforward for you to kind of just quickly open that up. And then obviously you have access to the wires. Going to assume that you have something that you can easily just kind of add in to that system, that probably one actually disconnects it from the main system so it doesn't feed it back into the main system and trip over the other alarms. That also then just starts putting a signal into it that turns into an unpleasant noise. And as the kind of two guards sort of initially react of kind of hands over ears, you just kind of quickly scrabble back to the rest of the group before the guards are kind of reacting to start going over to the system. You make it back, and then you have the guards kind of start making their way over and start having a look.
Cool. As they do that, and I'd be like creepily standing in the shadows with like two guns held by the long bit and not the hand bit. Don't have to explain guns, don't do guns. But like proper, like pure anime style, it's going to be like the glint in my eyes as the eyes open and to the two of them across the backs of the skulls.
Incredible. Yeah, make a roll.
I've described that. My shit. No, we're gonna use it. We're gonna wreck it, but we're gonna push ourselves so it goes well.
Sounds good.
Cool. Wait, what's... Cool. That is a 6! Oh, and a 1! Oh, that was...
Good job you pushed yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you. Well, basically what you said is pretty good. They kind of go in as you hit them as well, because they're quite close to it. You kind of hit them. They just kind of go into the wall, and it's nice and easy for you to just, bring them down gently so they don't kind of. Well, I suppose it doesn't make too much difference about noise, but.
Do we want to restrain them?
Would you like to restrain them?
I'd have to argue for what I could use to do it, but I have climbing gear, and as one of the things I can bring with me, and presumably that includes ropes, right?
We could just tear their sleeves and, use the fabric from that.
I mean, sure. If it involves restraining them and preferably gagging them, then that will keep them out of the way, right?
Technically, Hayward has an unusual weapon, which is open to interpretation.
I couldn't possibly comment, Hayward.
We're done with that bit with. We're done with that bit with August.
Oh yeah, he also has climbing gear.
So yes, that'd be fine. Also, you've got like blank slots in load that I never actually checked what load people were going in with.
Normal.
I was going to say normal as well.
Also
Normal.
All right, cool.
Bunch of normies.
Nice.
Are we really normal?
No,
Anything
we are
about
not.
this is normal.
This is a fantasy game and we can pretend.
So
Yes.
are we tying these people up? Should we do
Yeah.
it?
Do it.
Yep.
Right. Okay, now. Could I... So the thing is, I don't have any finesse. But what I do have is consort. Now, I would argue that in my line of work... I think I'm being told no.
Oh no, I'm saying please explain.
I would argue that please don't make me explain it.
Well, I tie up one and you tie up the other, and I can finesse and you can consort.
Yes.
Hayward
Yeah,
also
I don't
has
know.
Hayward also has consort on this.
You can't consort people. You can't.
Or I could sway people.
Luna, I'm happy to accept consort as the thing if you're able to justify it. I'm not sure we had the full justification.
Okay, because Claudia would know how to tie knots.
That seems a very incidental skill.
Hmm. Yes. It's convenient, isn't it?
It's a 5.
Can I roll my dice now?
Sure.
Oh, I got a 6 and a 3, but I have 2 dots in it.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, both of you do a pretty good job. Well, one of you does a pretty good job. One of you does a very good job.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Mittens isn't used to tying people up.
If you're there for long enough that they wake up, the one that Mittens tied up probably would eventually escape.
Did we gag them? We gagged them, right? Let's
say yes. as you know, obviously you could just do that at this point anyway. So, and I don't think there'd be any need to roll for that. Yes.
I
Obviously-
would also like to just stop the alarm speaker from making any further noises.
Yeah, I was going to say also there's a loud noise going on, and there's obviously more security guards that will pretty soon be kind of heading this way.
Is there a cupboard to stash them in?
Yeah, make a quick roll in terms of being able to kind of pick a spot that you can stash them in.
I'm studying the area. If I've got 3 dots, it's 3 dice. Take the highest number, right? So I'm studying the area for any stashable location for these people. Oh, well, that was shite. 4 is the highest.
Okay, I mean, so there are a couple of options to stash them in. Basically, there's some. You can see down the side there's some kind of lockers in which you could, if you could get one of them open, you could stash them in there.
Mittens.
Haywood.
We got a locker that we need opened.
I see. This is Mitten's time to shine. And I'll go and open the... I'll go and finesse the lock.
Make a roll for it.
Yay. Okay, 6.
Well done. Yeah, you're so they're like combination lockers, right? But they're basically just for like people to kind of store things as necessary. It's not really like they're not really intended to be like super secure things, right? So it's pretty straightforward. You're familiar with kind of, you know, putting your ear up to one of those and just kind of turning until you find the right spots.
Yep. No
The
need to dwell.
the sort
That's
of
just
shit you've been doing since you were a kid. Breaking into people's lockers and stuff. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Get open. Chuck a couple of bodies in.
Before we put them in there, I'm just wondering if the security guard outfits that they're wearing look like they might fit any of us.
Probably would.
Could Haywood use the argument that under his freeload,
Right,
he has a fine cover identity?
Interestingly enough, they look like they would fit Claudia and Mathilda.
Fair enough. And Haywood uses fine
And
cover identity
also,
to be in anyway. An extra
Let's be real that Claudia and Mathilda are the only ones who are going to be able to pull off the security guard look.
I'm not sure what that's saying about.
It says that they're the only ones who would look good in the outfit.
Oh, okay. Yes, I see what you mean.
This is like Team Met Gala all over again.
It's
Well,
like
we
the
got a
reverse
no,
because it's security
got a-
guard outfits.
Yeah, the
Oh,
theme is security this year. Oh no, isn't it like a really obscure theme and you're supposed to interpret it? So the theme is
Yeah.
like, I can't think of anything clever, but we'll figure it out.
Secret Service.
Security guard, isn't it?
Oh, Haywood.
Are we stealing their outfits?
Oh, obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Come. Yep. Well, shimmy into them and do a cool little pose with, like, I assume there's some kind of like baton or something.
Yeah,
Just
we do like
Charlie's
a
Angels.
Charlie's Angels sketch for
Yeah.
the Instagram board we've got.
Yeah.
Out of Mittens, Carrie Ann, and Haywood, who's the best? Who's got the best finesse?
Yeah, Haywood.
Assume
I got 2.
3.
Okay.
I mean, that doesn't seem right. You're a child.
Yes, but I have been stealing things longer than you have, probably.
Yeah, but
speak to your
I
elders
operate
like
on
that, Mittens.
people.
Yeah, but I steal things. Clearly,
Oh
that's
my
that's
god!
That's much more
Yes.
difficult.
I've just had a thought, Team Heart Hands. So we're all here like this.
I
And then
just have
Carrie
a
Ann comes
heart.
through with 2 hearts, like
Oh, okay. That's quite
two
funny.
hearts with two different hearts.
oh.
It's so morbidly cute.
Okay, right. Rather than what I was originally thinking, then I think I imagine Mittens and Carrie Ann both, rather than taking a picture, quickly sketch the two of them, and then why don't you both make a finesse roll?
Okay.
Uh, 615. So
I
6.
got a 5.
Okay.
It might not have been as good, but it's anatomically correct.
I mean, objectively, Mittens is slightly better, but obviously you're convinced that yours is better. And
I've labelled all of mine, all of the full outfit, and
the two of you can
I've
argue
written
for the
copious
rest
notes.
of the score.
Yeah,
Whose is better?
I'm convinced that yours is better.
But at least you've got 2 records now that you can keep of this moment. Half an hour later, you move. No, not half an hour.
Clearly, you've never been forced to take photos for other people. It would definitely be longer than half an hour.
Have you not seen how the Met Gala works?
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Oh,
really
we've been
important
through
part
this
of it.
before. You had to explain it to me last time.
The photos, there's that's a thing that they do. Yeah, I know about the Met Gala. I don't.
Cool.
I mean, I don't know what happens. I just know photos of pretty costumes are taken, and that's all I care about with the Met Gala.
At some point, Mittens goes, hang on, weren't we doing a crime?
Oh, fuck.
The only crime that's being committed right now, Mittens, is your blatant disregard for the rituals of new outfits. That's a thing, right? Are we just heart-handing now? I don't know what's happening anymore.
He doesn't grade the social cues, he just does that every now and again.
Oh. Oh. That's really sweet, bless.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
sorry, this is a really off time for me. There was this guy, this architect guy.
Oh, not another jock architect.
I will link you. I'd be like, girl, tell me. And we walk. And we
Yeah.
do the thing where we trail a little bit behind everyone,
Yeah.
gossiping.
You obviously have to do this very quickly because you obviously don't actually have very far to walk. Just across, and presumably from the keys, can unlock the section, into the where the tellers are, into that section. As you kind of get there, you can hear sort of conversation, sort of just the other side then of the door into the corridor behind, of what sounds like the sort of senior person having a conversation with 2 other security guards about the noise, the fact that nothing's tripped on the central system, but that something is going on. They will need to get potentially someone in to look at it, and they'll need to, and sort of going like, where are the 2 people who are supposed to be guarding this place? This is a bit weird. And yeah,
Pull to the side and let Matilda and Claudia proceed.
Yeah, well, Do the confident walk like we know where we're going.
Yes. We definitely belong here.
Cool. So you just opening the door and walking into the conversation.
Yeah. Actually, no, we're bursting through the door.
And posing dramatically.
No, just bursting into the door and going, has anyone fixed this? It's completely disrupting everything. Has someone fixed this? I can't listen to that noise. And
The three of you kind of look up and make a roll for how well do you pull off being a security guard. And remember, there are group action options available.
yeah.
If you
How commanding is Claudia?
I have a dot in it, but just the one.
Okay.
Haywood is
I have 2 in sway.
Oh no, that's right.
very much considering something right now.
It's
Having-
not. It's not August, is it? Because same.
Haywood is very much considering marching in right now as a disgruntled customer.
Middle of the
He has
night.
access to a locked bank.
To somehow force his way into the bank with extremely high connections to Arkaros and the money and the wealth and the connections to the university, and is demanding access to the vaults.
We'd be able. We can prove that we're good at security, and we won't have to persuade them of anything. We can arrest him.
Please do.
And that is another completely viable option if it fails.
Firstly, make a roll on the action that has already happened.
Okay.
What I do? Which we could. How group actions work?
We all roll and someone takes stress.
Yeah, so one of you
Yeah.
would lead a group action. You would all roll, and the person who leads it would take 1 stress for every one roll of 1 to 3, or 3 or less.
But if someone succeeds, everyone does.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Um,
at least, yeah, if you succeeded in that, they would believe that you are both the 2 security guards.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I can't. I'm not very sway. But because it's only risk of there's a higher risk of just me failing. If you're willing to take, or
What do you have in command? Because I was gonna say.
I've 1 in command.
Do we do that, but as a group action?
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's more
Yeah.
chance of succeeding.
why not?
And yeah, I don't mind leading it because I've not got,
Well,
I've got like 2 stress.
okay. Cool.
Okay,
Okay.
both of you roll command then.
Nice.
Oh, okay, that's a 5.
I got a 6.
Hey.
Wonderful. Yeah, they kind of look at you slightly surprised. The senior, the guy that's kind of clearly in charge of the 3, looks at the 2 of you, initially a little bit confused, but is says, "Oh, Flo and just Gaijin, please. Gaijin, you might not have muted your mic
Gaijin,
as successfully as you thought you did." He looks at you and says, you're the two new ones for tonight, right? Flo and Miriam. I have you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I was wondering what happened to you. It doesn't seem like we've got anything any issues on the central system. That you didn't see anything out there, did you? There's nothing that could have tripped it.
No, it's just really annoying. I can't. How can I focus? I'm supposed to be learning, and that's going on.
No, okay, no, that's fine. As long as there's no one out there, we'll get the engineer team on call. To come and check it
Thank
out.
you.
We were more worried that someone had broken in and something had happened to the alarm system and
No,
had something
you
between
need
the two of you.
it's so difficult to get in here.
I mean, we know.
We're doing the most, right, aren't we? We look so we look really cool and good
Yeah.
and intimidating.
Bitches.
Mm-hmm. I'm tapping whatever weapon they give security guards, in my hand. That's what security guards do, right?
While this is happening, you just there's Mittens just outside the door, just with jaw just open, looks at Carrie Ann, just kind of gestures. Maybe we should go downstairs while they're distracted, in a sign language.
Sorry. So where the tellers are is then a door through that takes you to a corridor, and it's then down the end of that corridor that the stairs are.
Yeah, I look at Mittens as if to say we need to wait for Carrie Ann and Matilda to get them to move along first. I'd communicate all of this
they were
just
in,
with
a side room.
with one glance.
Why do we walk in here? My apologies.
Cool. So
Can you show us how to check if the security system has been triggered or if it's just a fault? Is there anything? Is there a panel?
Yeah. I mean, you should have been showing that in here. Look, I'm going to go call the engineer team to go and fix it. Gary looks at one of them. Just show them. It's just show them where the panel is. Yeah. And the guy that you presume is Gary is like, yeah, all right, boss. The guy goes off to his back to the kind of security office with the other one, and then the guy now known as Gary is like, oh yeah, just follow me, makes his way into the back through into the bit where the teller section is.
Thank you so much for showing us this. I say kind of loudly and backwards.
Shit.
That means they're coming in here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you
okay, we duck behind some.
Yeah, can we edge into the shadows, please? And also hide.
He walks through the door, and he's kind of not really looking. He's kind of turning around and making idle small talk. With the two of you, oh, how's your first day here been? Obviously not new to this stuff, but it's all the same, really, isn't it?
What got you into security?
It's just obvious job when I was. It's just the first one that I found, and it's been alright.
You look really good in blue. It really suits you.
Brings out your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, I don't really know what to say about that. That's if anything, a little bit inappropriate in the workplace. Maybe keep it professional.
Wow. I don't want to hit him. I'm not going to do it.
I continue. You know the chat you make with the taxi driver. Like, oh, long shift tonight.
You
There have been many incidents.
kind of idle chat. He kind of gets to a panel, and he's like, yeah, this is the kind of security board you can see. Connects to the main system underground, and the lights go up if it's actually like something that's triggered in the central system. It's just a fault with the speaker by the sound of it. It's
Do we want this guy out of the way?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm like, while he's talking, I'm like
I've
making
got
eye contact to you, like.
I've got some trans powder. Does that knock them out?
It puts them in like a kind of hypnotic state.
So can I be like, hey Gary, and like tap him, and then just like, shh.
Yes, you can.
Can I watch while the drugs take hold of his system and the light leaves his eyes and they glaze over?
Sure.
Like being rejected.
Can I look longingly at the trans powder?
We'll keep a little bit back for later. Yeah.
Make a finesse roll on that.
I can't finesse. But
Sorry.
yeah.
Make a roll on that. Please tell me which skill you're using.
Can I very commandingly get his attention?
I mean, the getting his attention bit won't be the issue. It's the flinging trans powder in.
Fine. I can't do it. Skirmish, actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm throwing it at his face.
Attacking him with trans powder. Yeah.
This could go really badly. Oh shit! It's a 6.
Okay. Yeah. That's very successful. Yeah, trans powder right in his face. He pretty much breathes it all in and is very out of it.
Mm-hmm. Can we just leave him? I don't know. What shall we do with him?
We could take his clothes.
Yes, let's take his clothes.
Yeah.
You've also got the body locker that you could tuck in if you wanted.
Yeah.
And do both.
I would like to very statistically unbutton his shirt and be like, "You do really look very good in blue, though."
To be fair, he does genuinely look pretty good in blue.
Yeah.
Yes, so his uniform would fit Hayward the best.
Fine.
We'll pass the uniform to Hayward.
I put the uniform on.
Do security guards have any kind of restraints? Can we also, restrain him?
I mean, you still have rope available between the lot of you. I'm sure it'll be fine. Just make a quick roll on how effectively you tie them up.
Can I use the same? I mean, he's still conscious. I can definitely use console, right?
Yeah. Although maybe you need to make the case again for it.
Do I though? Do I?
No, you don't. Go roll.
Okay, thank you. Oh shit! That's a 1 and a 6. I don't think I've ever rolled this many 6s in my life.
There you go. Yeah.
He's very effectively tied up.
Yeah. Clearly, Claudia is fantastic at tying people up.
Good night, Gary. And then I close the door on him.
Presumably, he's just added to the body locker.
Yeah, it's like Hitman.
I was imagining you put them in separate ones, but I think I think it's funnier that there's just one single locker that's just being filled with these unconscious guards tied up. Like, yeah. So back in. So from when you were in the back section, there was the guy kind of in charge of the kind of head of security, and another security guards. They've both gone back or they were both going back into the security office when you kind of left them to go back into the room with that security guard.
Presumably the vault would be alarmed. I would think. I was just going to say that if we want the vault to not be alarmed, we probably need to get into the security office, and they were both. There are two of them in there, or there were two of them in there.
We also have the panel here with us at the moment that we were looking at.
Yeah, so from what you can see on the panel, it's basically just like an output, like, it's connected to the system, and whatever, it pushes out a sound signal if alarms are triggered. And it also kind of has basically sections that kind of have just like an LED that would light up if just to kind of tell them where the issue was. So if the tellers are there, they can they know which way to run away from.
We could go with Carrie Ann's plan of trying to get into the security office to check the arm, or we can go straight to the vault and see what we can do.
So my understanding was we've still got two people between us and being able to get downstairs, right? Which is where all the
so you'd have to so you'd have to go past the security office to get to the stairs.
Do you want to try sneak past or get through them?
Well, as far as getting through anyone goes, I'm not going to be much of a help there. But yeah, I would say it'd probably be smarter to go into the security office. I could make a distraction, like down the end of the hall, to draw one of them out.
And we've three of us that can walk in comfortably and bring them out, and then it's 5v2.
Can do.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna grab Hayward and Claudia and walk towards the security office in a panic.
Yep, I head along.
Gonna run in screaming like, "They got Gary! They got Gary!"
And he looks so good in blue.
He looks so good, and just panic.
The two of them kind of look up and they go, "What are you talking about?"
They got Gary.
Who did?
The people.
Okay.
Sorry.
At this point, can I run past the door?
Can I throw myself at one of them in like a hysterical way to try and like?
Sure. Okay. Three things. Three things occurring. 3 rolls that need to make. Firstly, Mathilda, for this performance of They Got Gary, you've been nominated for an Oscar. Well done. Sorry, I don't know why my brain went there. Please make a roll for it.
Oh fuck.
Similarly, Claudia, to pull off then the dramatically throwing yourself into one of their arms, one of their the idea. And then thirdly, Mittens, are you trying to like sneak past, or are you trying to like add to the whole?
No, I'm making a loud noise so that they see someone run past the door. So
Okay,
to
in which
cause
case,
the distraction.
no need to roll. That's fine.
Yeah.
Can this be sway?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Oh, 2 and a 3.
Matilda?
I mean, consort.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm trying to appeal to their love of Gary.
You're really assuming they like this guy.
Alright, let's see. That's a 4.
Okay. You kind of see him press a button under the desk, and then gets up, and he's like, "Okay," and then presumably sees Mittens scoring past. Claudia, the other guy, kind of as you start to go, just kind of takes a step back a little bit, unsure how to react, and kind of is a bit like, "You're a security guard, get yourself together." And then the head of security kind of runs out to chase after Mittens, and then the other guy kind of follows behind. The corridor is kind of a dead end. There's like the door down at the right, but that door, presumably if you try and open it, is locked. And so both of them are then kind of chasing after Mittens with batons raised to attack. What's everyone going to do?
So as soon as I run past the door, I will pull out my fine shadow cloak and just kind of don it to make it, because I'm assuming this is quite a dimly lit building, to just make it harder for me to be seen.
That's fine. I guess because you'd been trying to make yourself very visible, they kind of at least know to look for you, and there's not much in the way of options on the corridor to hide behind.
Okay, so there's not like any little crenellations or anything I could just duck into?
No, pretty much just like a flat corridor.
Oh, well then I won't do that. I'll just turn around and kind of like lock eyes with whoever exits the door, or enters the corridor, exits the room, and just kind of like keep their attention and look very desperate, kind of like boggle-eyed type thing.
Cool. So they're charging down the corridor at this figure of Mittens, looking very desperate.
Like I haven't run too far past the door. I just want to like see them emerge, back off slowly to kind of have them moving slowly towards me, so that someone else can approach them behind unseen. I'm very much trying to take up their attention.
Yep, that's fine. They're pretty much kind of come out, and their sort of approach will be, come out of the room, see you, pretty much attack and not really ask questions. So, what's everyone else doing? Presumably flashback to you making this plan.
I would like to... I have obviously, as per usual, brought some chemicals with me. I would like to use the blowgun that I have with a dart that has a new chemical creation that I made, which I am hoping might work in this situation. And I want to shoot that with the hopes of hitting the security, the security manager guy, not the other lackey.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Make a roll. Also, did you decide on what you wanted to call it?
Yes. It was inspired by my muse, Claudia. She is, like myself, an expert in her field. And this is very inspiring to me. And I wanted to create something that would have a similar effect on people that Claudia has, but a chemical version. And so, of course, it is called My Chemical Claudia.
Wonderful.
I hold up the 2 hearts.
You throw it and you hear a single G4 play.
Okay, so I'm rolling to actually do the shooting of the.
Yep.
It's going to be finesse, and it's a 5.
Okay. I mean, you successfully hit him with the blow dart, because he's kind of reacted quite quickly and has gone pretty much straight at Mittens. He isn't able to like stop his momentum, and is basically just going to carry on and just crash straight into Mittens, baton first.
That's fine. That's necessary. You can't make an omelette without breaking some eggs, can you? So it's fine.
So Mittens, this would be level 1 harm, unless, as I've since remembered, probably since we last played, you have obviously the option to resist consequences.
Okay. No. I'll try and resist. That's a 6.
Wonderful. Yeah, as he kind of charges, you kind of spot what's happening, and just a little sidestep to the side at the last minute, as he kind of sort of barrels past you and just kind of falls to the floor. The other one at the same time is still making his way towards you.
As I gestured before, I'm just going to just kind of like lean into my teenage nature and just kind of go as he goes past to the side, turn around to the one in front, and again just try and take his attention away from whatever is happening behind him.
So obviously Carrie-Anne has dealt with the head of security.
Flashback to a few seconds ago when Carrie-Anne passed me one of her darts. And in sync, I'm going to use my sharpshooter ability to... I'm just going to chuck it. We're not going to blow dart that, I'm just going to chuck it at him.
Incredible. Yeah, make a roll for it. The sharpshooter, I can't remember how that exactly works.
It just means I can push myself. I don't know if it works. Yeah, it was just to make a ranged attack an extreme distance beyond what's normal for the weapon. To feel as...
Yep, okay, that makes sense. Yep, and
yeah,
obviously a dart is very close range without the blow bit. Oh, fuck's sake, I phrased that terribly.
I probably could have said I had one, in fairness, but we're here now. We're just going to do it. Hunt? I'm shooting. Hunt?
So push yourself so you take 2 stress, and then hunt.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
That's 2 6s!
Amazing. You absolutely...
Sorry, that was pretty loud, I'm sorry.
Absolutely nailed that shot.
In the spine.
The guy, yeah, pretty much following the same path. So I mean, as Mittens kind of steps out the way, he just kind of barrels, kind of slightly aims away anyway, and kind of just barrels into a wall, and is just kind of lying on the floor a little bit further up, and the two of them are just like much more sedate.
Okay, I am going to go over to the manager guy, and I'm going to help him up off the floor, and I'm going to say to him, wait, does he have on like a name tag or something?
Yes.
What's his name?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say to him, yes, you were turning off the alarm system, remember?
Oh. Yes. Yes.
Are you? Come on. I'll help you go and turn off the alarm system, and then I just take his elbow and start guiding him towards the security office.
Sure. Yeah, you take him through. You kind of push a couple of buttons, and yeah, the alarm system is deactivated.
I'm just going to take a second to bask in my own amazingness, as all academics do.
Claudia is like, yeah, that was good. Are we going to the vault? Can I just like use my shoe to like turn the face of the other one over as we go past if he's lying on the floor?
Yeah, I mean he's kind of out of it again, same sort of state.
Yeah,
So.
I just want to play with him.
Yeah, he doesn't really do anything. So like, yeah,
This is for me. This isn't for him.
flip his face over.
Good.
Cool. So I mean, get to the end of the corridor. Obviously, the door, as mentioned, is locked. Although obviously security guards would have, or at least definitely the head of security guard would have a key. So if you want to flashback to then getting the key off him.
Yes. Yeah. I will. I just tell him he was going to give me the key.
Yeah, he gives you the key.
Can I also tell him that he has a strange thing where he can't remember people's faces?
You can tell him. I don't think it'll have any effect, but
okay.
You can give it a go.
Okay. I ask him if he's ever seen or read the Penny Dreadful of the Mighty Boosh, and he has this thing where everyone's face is just a pink orb.
Sure. Yeah, okay. He doesn't actually. That doesn't actually happen in terms of he doesn't actually think that, but he's happy to agree with you. Cool. So yeah, if you unlock the door, make your way down, then turn down the end of the stairs, make a left and head towards the vault door. Presumably with everything that you've got from the engagement roll, you've got the information to be able to unlock the vault. So from the two halves of the passcode, you're able to kind of enter that in. Vault door swings open, and you find yourself in a room with a fuckload of gold.
Can I recommend that one of us remains outside at all time with the passcode, just in case?
Oh.
And I recommend we fill whiskey with gold.
When you say fill whiskey,
What?
Sure.
I was gonna say, given the noble background, Claudia probably wouldn't care, but Haywood's like, yeah, gold.
Never have too much money.
I'll stay outside.
Just need one person on each leg to subtly move Whiskey's legs to make him look like we're not doing it. And we lead a horse out of the vault.
Right, so what's everyone else doing?
Apparently filling up a horse.
Wow. What are we here for?
Ghosts.
Ghosts. Yes, ghosts. Hi. Wait, do I have to do ghost things? You can do ghost things too, Romans.
Yeah, apparently not as well as you, but yeah, I have some ghostiness to me.
So edgy, Jesus Christ! You can tell he's 17.
Yeah, it's just mittens there. It's not actually a fine shadow cloak. It's just like a leather trench coat
Oh.
from the 90s.
Do we need to do ghosty things?
You don't. It's just the box thing.
Who's got the box? I'm so distracted by all this horse.
The box.
Too much horseplay.
You left it at home. I thought you had it.
Flashback. We take the box with us.
The box is inside Mittens, not Mittens.
There's an uncomfortable popping noise of just. Mittens is holding a box.
Freudian slip right there.
There we go. That's better.
As you've kind of made your way into the vault to get ready to kind of open up the box and put things in, Matilda's obviously stood guard outside. From kind of behind where you've just come from, Matilda, you kind of turn around to see an annoyingly familiar figure who has become visible again, with the irritatingly glowing red eyes and all the other shit that everyone's fed up with him for. Also holding a kind of dagger. It's very good to see you again. And he kind of just makes a lunge to stab you.
I'm gonna take the rifle that has the electroplasmic ammunition in it. I'm gonna panic shoot.
Yeah, make a roll.
Hunting, because it's my thing. I shoot. 6 and a 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a kind of desperate grab to get it in time, but it's not the first time you've had to, quick draw a pistol and shoot something. He is pretty close to you by the point that it kind of hits him. You can see him kind of recoil backwards. It probably hasn't done as much damage as you would normally like for shooting someone with a bullet, but clearly the electroplasmic ammo more is having an effect on him, and has kind of pushed him back.
He's here! I'm
Can
gonna shout into them.
when I hear that, can I run into the doorway and get out my spirit vein charm? Will
Can I
it?
have a look around for the item that we're looking for?
You have the items. It's more the location.
I hold it out like a crucifix.
You have the box and the 3 items need to go in. It's the energy stored in here that you need.
Okay.
So presumably you would be doing that whilst Mathilda has shot him, and then Claudia's going to run out and check a spirit vein.
The power of Spirit Bane compels you.
Sure. I'm doing the thing that makes sense that my character would know, but that I'm slightly hazy on.
Yes, exactly. Cool. Claude, just make a quick roll on that.
Oh God, what I'm roll? Would this come under a tune because it's a ghosty thing?
Sure, do it.
Okay, cool. Oh, 2 and a 4.
Okay. I mean, you kind of get out and sort of quite quickly throw a Spirit Bane. It's not necessarily in the best place, but at the very least, it kind of initially staggers him back a bit further. Presumably, you carry on Mittens and Haywood between you with a box. Put the things in the box.
Yeah.
As it's kind of happening outside, Mathilda and Claudia kind of buying enough time to be able to, quickly kind of open it and make sure you got the right things in the right places. As you do that, you're kind of familiar with the three of you that are next to it are familiar with the kind of slightly odd sensation as it initially kind of reaches out to draw energy. However, it quite quickly leaves you as kind of around various sort of half-formed ghostly figures and sort of ghostly energy that's kind of been brought in. Obviously, the vault is designed to not let ghosts in, which also means it doesn't let them out. So anything that's brought in with any amount of kind of paranormal energy attached to it is kind of being drained as the box kind of pulls that in. After a certain point, you see a sort of kind of bright white flash of light kind of emanate from the box and almost kind of blinding everyone, including Claudia and Mathilda outside. As you kind of eyes initially are a little bit stunned and a little bit blinded by it, and as they kind of come back, you see a somewhat decayed corpse of Eli just kind of lying on the floor, and the box that you had has kind of locked itself shut again.
I'm going to keep panic shooting Eli's body. Good measure.
It doesn't do anything, but presumably it makes you feel better.
Yeah. Fuck you bitch.
I'm gonna go and like just like give Mathilda's shoulder a little rub and like, this is about Egbert, isn't it?
Tears like.
As you're having a nice moment, you start to hear the sound of sirens heading towards the bank.
Can we flash back to me arranging for my friend with the cart, his mortuary cart thing?
Yep,
to be ready to pick us up.
Yep, absolutely fine. The only question is how you're going to get to them.
Fast. with run.
Run.
Yeah, so as you kind of make your way up the stairs, you can see a group of blue coats kind of at the front door, trying to make their way in.
Were there like on the upper floor? Were there like windows at the back?
No, it's just the one floor, and it's
no. I mean upper from where we were in the basement.
Yeah. So no, there's no windows at the back. It's all brick.
Is there a back way out?
Not one that you've seen. Maybe make a roll for it.
Someone else make a roll for it.
I was going to say,
Oh.
can Hayward, having received the rough sketch of the blueprints from August, study those blueprints to see what alternative exits there are from the bank?
Sure. So, obviously, for security, it is very intentionally has like one way in and out, to stop someone kind of sneaking in a rear entrance. However, if one were determined to find an alternative exit, there's a little bit just at the back of the kind of staff room section. There's a little bit that's kind of noted as essentially at one point that was actually a doorway rather than a wall that's been filled in. So if you were looking for something to smash to get out, there's a potential weakness there.
I point that out to Matilda and go, Matilda, smash.
Matilda whips out her. Oh.
2 of my load and pull out my demolition tools and hand them to Matilda and just say, Matilda, smash.
Matilda pulls out her own demolition tools to ensure.
Can Claudia pull out hers and go, well, this is awkward.
I'm gonna shove them all in the doorway. Oh.
Before this happens, can I just ask about Eli's body? First of all, how decayed is it?
It's not like decayed in the sort of same or normal way, as you would necessarily expect.
Is the corpse still whole?
So yeah, it's still essentially whole.
All right. Okay. In that case, I am gonna get out some drift oil and I'm gonna douse it on him, and then he's coming with us.
Okay.
Is that the floaty one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, Eli dead. Eli balloon.
Cool. Matilda, make a roll for
explosions.
For explosions, yeah.
Yeah, that's that wreck roll if I've ever had one.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Yeah. That's so many strokes. No, I'm not going to risk that. No, I'll just hope. I'm going to change dice. That's a 5.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You know what you're doing. You kind of tell everyone to take cover. They kind of duck behind things. Hear an explosion, and they kind of peek their head up, and Matilda's just there looking very pleased with herself, with a big hole in the wall where
looking fat. I'm gonna kind of lean in the doorway in my uniform. Yeah.
And behind Matilda is a very familiar looking cart that Carrie Ann has arranged, who's kind of waiting in that exit that you suggested might be the one that's clear of blue coats. And you jump in and ride off as kind of a few seconds later, you kind of blue coats are storming the place. And thanks so much for joining for today's episode. Don't forget there'll be a link on screen to a previous episode if you need to catch up on that. As this is the series finale, we'll be returning at some point in the future. Thanks so much everyone for joining throughout, and I hope you have a great day.